let me tell you a story about Little Fury. See, Little Fury never had an NES. He had a Sega Master System, where he played awesome games like Hang On, and Outrun, and Fantasy Zone 2. Then it got stolen, to which he's still very upset about today. But he always said that if he ever got an NES, the first game he would ever play is X, where the value of X is Crystalis, which he did not get. But that's okay, because he always said that if he could not get Crystalis, he would get Y, where the value of Y was Star Tropics, which he also didn't get. Instead, he had to settle for this weird little game he spent 50 cents on that he'd never heard of, called Clash at Demonhead. And little did he know that this game would soon become one of the best NES games he's ever played. The story follows Yamcha. Sick and tired of losing to space monkeys in every fighting competition, he decides he needs a change of pace. So he becomes a secret agent, under the code name Billy Big Bang Blitz, which might also be the greatest action hero name ever. Now Bang has to go and rescue a kidnapped Professor Plum, who is being forced to develop a world-ending weapon, found at the peak of Demon's Head Mountain. And this is all likely before Bang realized he was in fact very good at fighting and joined the BlazBlue circuit. While the initial conceit is fairly basic, save the guy, stop the world-ending weapon, there's actually a lot more to the plot of this game. In fact, I would say it's probably the most story-infused platformer I've seen on the NES. Running around, you'll meet multiple characters who all have their own unique personalities and traits, as well as occasionally running into messages which contain little bits of fluff text to help really show you who Bang is as a character, and his relationship with other people around him. It's a neat touch that means the story is full of a lot more personality than you would initially suspect, especially for a game of its time. In addition, you run into moments known as talking time, where you converse with your various friends and enemies on the mountain. This is used mainly to help direct you to your next location, as well as give you hints on various hidden things, and of course to help progress the plot, because the plot does actually take several different turns at different points, which is actually really impressive. The gameplay itself is a large, sprawling, non-linear platformer. Essentially, you are given this map of Demon's Head Mountain, and you're told to go from there. Now, of course, your main goal is to save Professor Plum, defeat the governors, and save the world. But in between that, you have to rescue various civilians, you have to defeat other mini-bosses, you have to collect various hidden artifacts and treasures, as well as solve many different puzzles, making this game very diverse in terms of your overall objective. That said, the fact that you are given a map this big means you're probably going to have to chart your own map, as well as take notes in real time. And while a lot of people find this obnoxious, I actually really enjoy it, because it means that you have to be more of an active participant in your interactive media. Now, to help Bang out on his quest, he has several different power-ups, including his blaster, a couple different weapon upgrades which you have to purchase and are temporary, and with the exception of maybe the barrier, are kinda useless, as well as several different power armors, including awesome jetpacks, powerful running armor, and a suit that lets you swim in lava. How do you not own this game? It is clearly the best game. However, as cool as these items are, one of the biggest annoyances is just trying to obtain them. You have to buy them from the store, which requires you to collect money. That's easy enough done, and with a shop call, you can make the entire shop fall to the sky into your lap, which is actually really cool, advanced, awesome technology. Make that happen, someone. But if you don't have a shop call, you have to navigate the entire mountain to the one place where there is a physical shop to visit. And that is a massive pain in the ass. So, first thing you do, stock up on shop calls, always. You do not want to be caught with your pants down and not a shop call in your pocket. If you don't have enough money, you can also go look for gold mines, and then find a place to trade in gold, which is actually a bit of a dice roll, but still a neat thing that gives you another layer of strategy as to how to tackle the mountain. That said, gameplay-wise, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. This game is very rough around the edges. The hit detection for your character's a little wonky. Some of the jumps can be very awkward, and I think the most frustrating thing to deal with is drowning, because your character can swim, but without a scuba tank, he will constantly take damage underwater. Now that's not too bad of an idea because it requires you to manage your inventory and money better, but even jumping into the water for just a second will take away your health. Speaking of health, while there is a health bar, it doesn't really tell you how much health you have. It's not very good at conveying exactly how vulnerable you are to the world, and that can make tackling opponents awkward beyond all belief. But when you get right down to it, despite how awkward the gameplay is at times, traveling throughout this massive world and developing the plot, solving the various mysteries and stuff, I think it definitely more than makes up for it. The overall presentation to this game is slightly above average. The music itself, while very catchy, has one massive flaw. There's like 2 songs to the entire overworld. There's a couple situations where you'll run into a couple different songs, but for the most part, you're just going to be listening to 2 songs and it will drive you up the wall. But to balance it out, the visual presentation is fantastic. Bang is visually a character full of personality. If you bump your head on a ceiling, he'll complain. If you slide on ice, he'll freak out. Even just standing around, he'll give a wink to the camera like saying, "Yeah, we're on this kick-ass adventure, let's do this." That's very cool. Moreover, each individual piece of armor you equipped will give you different sprites. Likewise, your talking time portrait will change depending on what piece of equipment you're wearing. And that in and of itself tells me people put a lot of effort into this game. And while not every bit of it may have worked out, it definitely shows. There's tons of different enemies and they all have big googly eyes, which is really, really cute. The bosses are memorable, including a dinosaur jet bike, a giant mushroom, an evil flea robot thing. That guy is a complete pain in the ass. And of course, the legendary Tom Guycott, the most kick-ass skeleton on the NES. Everything about this game's visual presentation just screams quality, and that is just awesome. And that's really how I'd summarize Clash at Demonhead. It's an awesome game. Sure, it might not have had a massive development budget, sure, it might not have been made by people of the highest pedigree, but it feels like it has a lot of heart. It feels like people put a lot of effort into it, and while it's not the most well-polished game, it's still a very enjoyable experience. And that, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, is the first NES game I ever owned. And while I might not enjoy this game as much as, say, Crystalis, depending on what day you ask me, it might be my favorite all the same. And if nothing else, it's like the best Dragon Ball game ever made, starring the coolest Dragon Ball character ever. So you know what? That's something. Clash of Demonhead, it's not hard to find, it's not expensive, and it's not really in high demand, but it's a game I would highly recommend if you enjoy non-linear platformers. It's a bit unpolished, and it's a bit frustrating. You will die a lot in this game, and it will sometimes feel like it's not your fault, but all the same, it is a fantastic game that is well worth playing.